All the best to you too, man.
Excited, man. Look at you.
Not excited, just weird. I have my phone recording me. So don't translate it. Move it off right.
All right, guys, we'll come back to the room, and we're going to make a start. Yeah, so we'll come back, we'll save the funnels, and then we will close the computers again. You can, if you haven't sent me the link and you're ready, you just send me the link. Otherwise, finish it off after we're done today. We're going to finish pretty early, so probably 5:30ish again. And then you can spend how much time you need to finish off the first page and send it to me via email for tomorrow. Would be ideal. But I mean, from what we saw around the room, you guys have done a lot of work. It's really well done. And I think most of you have finished that first page, so it looks pretty good. So save those, send them to me via email, so I can review. So then we'll close the computers and get ready for the remainder of day number 2. So to finish off today, we have a lot of different content that we are going to do. We're going to go over email marketing, because that is going to be vital to automatic emails going out, sending those out. Maybe we'll just check, Arbella Veras, if anyone's still outside, because there's a few chairs that are empty. Thank you. Yeah, laptops are done. I'm just going to wait for those to come back in. They're up there. Send me those links. Send me the links so I can see what you've done. You can, if you're going to do more tonight or early tomorrow, then do it. Send it after that. That's fine. All right. So that's all good. Then let's begin. So we're going to finish off today with email marketing, AI tools, and also what's really important is metrics as well. We're going to cover how to read the data, how to analyze data, and all that kind of thing. Before I kind of get into that, which won't take us too long, we're going to be done by, I would say, 5:30 is the estimation for tonight. But now, I mean, you've all kind of, I think most of you should have met at least, Beres, who started about a year ago as my apprentice, and he is now grown. So he's now going to jump on stage for about 20 minutes or so to give you a different viewpoint, a different kind of voice. I think it's very important to have different voices about funnels, offers, and what some of the core principles are. Because with Beres, he came into this with no funnels done at all, and he does I think he's got done at least 200 of them, maybe probably more. So we get those computers all put away now, because we're going to move on to this kind of content, and we're going to give a round of applause for Beres. Okay, so literally it started from where you guys are with no experience, and the last 12 months have done at least probably 200, 300 funnels for all kinds of industries. So over to you.
Alright, good afternoon everyone. I have around 20 to 25 minutes, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try to make sure that you guys get the most value as possible. You have taken the time to come here, you have put in all of this effort and energy, and you want to make sure that when you leave this place, you actually have something tangible in all of those things, right? So as Ethan said, I didn't have much experience. I was actually worse off than a lot of you. I hadn't built a single funnel before. At the moment, I'm the lead account manager, but more so I'm Ethan's apprentice, which is cooler than that. But being able to do all of this and market for a lot of different industries and the lessons and everything that we have learned, we're going to be covering that today. So the title of the topic is the war chest. It doesn't really matter what the title is, but essentially the principle behind that is that a customer is never going to buy your product or service not until they identify at least one tangible problem behind it, which your product or service is going to solve. The issue is most of you guys have just one solution, and you try to apply that for all of your different, you try to push that on all the clients, right? And that's just one way of thinking that you have, but clients don't want to know that, they don't want to buy that. So I'm going to cover different strategies today things we're going to be covering is I'll cover 5 things that completely transform marketing, some of the key principles that many of you might be doing wrong, which can transform everything, 2 main frameworks that are key to success in this industry, as well as why $1 Million Funnels keeps on being the industry leader, despite us just starting out like 4 years ago. All right, so let's get started. First thing, here's what you, I'm just gonna skip that. Here's what you guys are up against. Quite often when you're marketing, you think you're competing against your competitors. No, that's not the case. This is what you're up against. You're up against cat videos. You're up against aliens, missing like Deadpool and Wolverine, plane crashes. All of these different things that are demanding the audience's attention that is available online is what you guys are you're competing against, your business is competing against. And never in history have we had this many people market before, this many business owners. At the same time, there have never been so many that suck at it, right? And the reason why so many are like so bad at marketing is not because you don't have the work ethic or because you don't know what to do or anything like that. It's just simply that you don't know what to do, right? Ultimately, the main reason is because many of you haven't learned how to market, which is why you're attending this workshop today. So that already puts you ahead of the crowd, right? It's amazing. But many haven't done that. And that's why, even if you're putting in the effort, like you're doing the wrong thing quite often. And one of the fundamental things that you guys don't realize is that business owners themselves create situations where you're repelling the client. The copies, the ads, the emails that you're sending are sometimes the actual reason why the client doesn't want to buy from you. And the main reason why they won't sign up for your services, like we saw some websites before. They would see that they won't sign up. You can't identify that until you master these things, right? And we hear a lot of reasons or excuses. The economy is bad, I don't get high quality leads when I market, not all platforms are for me. I have heard all sort of excuses and reasons from people why marketing doesn't work for them, but ultimately those reasons are valid. They play a role, but ultimately it's like the amount of knowledge you don't know. If you don't know something, you can't implement it, right? So hopefully that's what we're going to try to cover today. And not doing that costs you guys like millions each year. Business owners lose a lot of money, and all the goals that you have, spending more time with your family or whatever that is, you're unable to achieve it. So let's get started. First and the most important framework for success in marketing, sales, all of that is the gap. The gap is the underlying principle behind all marketing, all sales, everything. It is basically the place where your customer is right now and what their target destination is, right? I'm hungry, I don't want to be hungry. There's something in between. You are coming in and you're delivering them that service or that product. Now, there are other principles associated with this, and this is something extremely important that you should always start with, the first question that you need to answer. So, let's start by defining the gap. Basically, we already covered that, and I'm gonna give you guys an example. Let's say you have a headache. I come to you with a medicine or a pill, right, for that headache. How much can I charge for it max? $2, $5? Can I charge $1 million for it? Probably not. You think this guy's crazy. Nobody's paying $1 million for a paracetamol or something like that. But what if I start asking you questions? I ask you, do you guys experience headache symptoms? Are you nervous all the time? Do you have trouble sleeping at night or whatever the reason is? And then after asking those questions, we figure out that you have a brain tumor, for example. Now the $1 million doesn't seem that far-fetched, does it? It has a lot more appeal if the pill can fix that for you. That's basically the main thing. The first thing you guys need to do is you need to identify the problems that your buyer has right now and the impact those problems are having on their current state. So for example, and important note over here, you need to identify, never take a lead for the face value. If they're telling you that they don't have enough clients, being the main reason, you don't just want to take that as the face value and start converting them based on it. You want to identify why they don't have clients in the first place. Many of you guys are dentists, right? A client goes to a dentist in like healthcare space, they get 5 different advisors, but ultimately there's one person who does gives them some tests to do and identify the actual issue, which is whatever disease they have, and then treats it for it. That doctor gets the patient's loyalty and all of those other things, whereas others were just making the guesses based on what the customer is saying here up front. That's basically the part you identify the problems at a deeper level. Then once you have figured that out, Then you have the outcome basically that they want. The bigger the gap is, which you'll be able to identify based on the problems, the more likely the customer is going to buy your product. The more need there will be, and this is something that quite often requires more scratching. It's not apparently visible, right? And once you have figured that out, then you figure out what their end goal is, what their desire is. And then you're like, if the cost of taking your service is less than what the impact that solving that problem and the impact that the end goal is going to have, that's what they're going to pay for. People pay for change. They pay for outcomes. They don't pay for features of the products or like your branding or things like that. Nobody cares about you. That comes all later. Ultimately, they want change, which is why they're going to sign up for your product. And the bigger the change they get, the more important the change they get, the more likely they're going to pay for it, all right? Anyways, let's move on. I already covered all of that. And so let's get to the 4 strategies, basically, that I mentioned at the beginning. Then maybe killing your sales, or many of you are doing them incorrectly right now. And once you address that, that can completely, overnight, it might turn your event. So the first one is irresistible offers, essentially. Even if you have a really bad creative or a really poor marketing strategy, if your offer is irresistible, even if your funnel is bad or all of that are completely messed up, a client will still buy your product, right? And here's the thing, we started this, so most successful businesses at their core are built around an irresistible offer. An irresistible offer by definition is what it is, it's a no-brainer. You want it, it's like providing you so much value, right? And we had a client that came in the Brisbane workshop that we did 2 weeks ago. 2 days ago, we went live with his campaign, and his result was he basically got around, I don't know, 200 leads at 50 cents a lead, approx, that was the cost. Now, many of you are like running ads and experimenting and you don't get that level of results in, I don't know, months. How was he able to do that? Well, he had a pizza shop and the offer was, for the first 100 customers that sign up for this landing page, you get a free pizza that you can only collect from the store. Who doesn't want a free pizza, right? And because he did the maths and he figured out that if a customer is coming in, he can upsell them in the store and they can then, and they want to come in later on, it works for him. And that giveaway just absolutely crushed it, right? That's an example of an irresistible offer. Here are some other ones, Domino's. If you don't get your pizza delivered within 30 minutes, it's free. That was super good. Then you have Dollar Shave Club, $1 subscription, right? You have this, actually I forgot the name, but they basically ship you 3 glasses that you could try at home, and you decide based on whatever you want, you go ahead with it. They had Amazon Prime, 2-day free shipping. You had like HelloFresh, right? Free breakfast for life. These are irresistible offers, right? I'm gonna skip all of that. Now the thing is, most of you has so bad offers that you should deserve an award for it. Like, it's like get 5% discount or 10% discount. Or like a book a free call, unlock a free call. Nobody wants something like that. It's lame, it is repetitive, and we're just starting to get overwhelmed with it, right? People don't care about you, they care about the value they're getting. For example, if we were to start this conference and I started with something like, let me tell you the history of $1 million funnels. I'll share the secrets of our forefathers. It started with Ethan Donati at some point, and you don't want that. You want to know the things that you could apply so you could get the outcomes you want in your business, right? Same thing for your clients. Many of you start with, it's not always about you. It's about the client. We're gonna ignore that. This was a fun idea. Even if you can't do it, if you can still hack attention, buy 2, get the 2 you bought. That was liquid death. That's a joke, but it provides you emotional value. So it's not always value, is not always supposed to be given in like normal terms. Anyways, right? We're gonna ignore that. That was Richard Branson's idea. Second thing is consistency and time value. This is the other extremely important principle. So let me ask you guys this question. Have you ever seen somebody run 1,000 ads or make 1,000 funnels, or even like some of you are in service-based business, right? Or in healthcare. Have you ever seen a doctor who has treated 1,000 patients and then he would be really bad at it? No, right? It's impossible. Because simply by doing that number of reps or sets, you get to a point where you're bound to get results. The issue is most people give up right away. Like you would run ads or you would market your product for like 1 month and then you would give up. Here's the thing, you know most businesses are not profitable during their first year. Like you go to brick and mortar businesses, or if you look at the average ones and you tell them, oh, I tried it for 2 weeks and it didn't work and I gave up, they're gonna laugh about it. We're like, oh, really? You have to do it consistently over a period of time, learn those things, and then you would get the results. This was an interesting concept that Grant Cardone had, which was the 10x rule. The 10x rule is, whatever target you have, it is usually going to require 10 times more effort and 10 times more time. So you might as well set a 10 times bigger target since the beginning. Many of us can probably relate to that. We set a goal for ourselves, and it ended up taking a year longer, or it ended up taking a lot more effort than we would have initially planned, right? And you can manage expectations from start. Even if it doesn't take as much, that's still a bonus, right? Another question, so how many of you in the room are married? Perfect. Have you ever gone to your spouse one day and be like, I'm just not feeling like it tonight, or today? Or like you have a kid and you're like, hey dude, I don't feel like it anymore. You can't do that. Somebody has to take care of him, right? It's like your responsibility. Same thing goes for marketing and your business. So you have to consistently provide value and give feedback and all those things. Okay? So run your ads constantly and all those stuff. And yeah, we already covered all of this. Oh yeah, that was the next one. That was offer hacking. So what is offer hacking? Good artists copy, great artists steal. Picasso had that saying. This is the fourth lesson. This is extremely important. When I started out, I didn't know what to do. All I did was this. I offer hacked. Because I didn't understand the marketing, I didn't understand the psychology, I didn't have to understand it. I saw the best of the best in my industry, and I simply duplicated the best campaigns for the clients. And many of you don't even know what your competition is advertising, or the benefits of them, or all of those like features that is getting them the results they want, right? So the easiest thing you could do is either you have competitors or they're big brands, even globally, even if they're not in Australia, in the same niche as you, go to their socials, see what kind of hooks they're using, what kind of ads they're using, what kind of campaigns are they running, what content on their Instagram is getting more views. And that gives you the answer, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. You can simply look at somebody who has already done it, who has already spent millions, and just use that directly from there, right? And that's like one of the main features. And some ways you could do it, there's a magical place called Facebook's ad library. Does anybody here actually know how to use it? All right, I'm not gonna explain right now, just make a note when you go home, look it up. Basically on Facebook, all ads are public. You could go to any Facebook page, you could click on their about section, you can go to page transparency and see the ads they're running. You do that for your competition, you'll see what ads are getting them better results. And if you see a lot of them, not just one person, you'll start seeing trends. And those trends indicate that this is something that is performing better, right? One simple thing. Another one was, there's another magical place, it's called SimilarWeb. So SimilarWeb is a software that would give you website insights. So you would see what the primary sources of traffic are, or social media are, and things like that for that specific channel. So for example, you enter a website over there, and it shows that most of the traffic, like your competition is getting, is from LinkedIn, and your LinkedIn profile is completely blank. That maybe means you need to start focusing on your LinkedIn strategy, right? There are things that you don't know or you haven't considered that you could identify through this. And finally, the last is like the good old-fashioned research. Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, got arrested in Brazil. Why was he doing that? And this guy was a billionaire at that time. He was on his knees on the floor with a tape measure, looking at the difference between the aisles they had, right? And people thought this crazy old man must be like, there's something wrong with him. They arrested him. And they were like, he was a billionaire. But he was curious, like, what is so special about these Brazilian stores that is getting them so much result, as opposed to like Walmart? Is there something that I can take away from that? That was the level of dedication he had. And that was, I mean, these are like basic things that just people don't do, which can completely get you so many insights. And even if you don't understand marketing, simply copying people that is already working is gonna make the process a lot more easier, right? And finally, the last one was sales. So sales is, again, Ethan mentioned this earlier in the morning, it's basically, you have the ads, you have the leads. How are you gonna convert it? How are you gonna make money from it, right? But even before that, many of you here say that, I want to make more money. You know it's illegal to make more money, right? You can't really make more money. people, there's always going to be somebody out there who has the money. That's you're going to take it from, right? And so we want to do Goggins, for example. There are 12,000 people in Australia who also want to see Goggins. So why don't we have them pay for it? And we just run the ads and we market it. We get the sales. That's like just one of the ways you could approach sales with. If your skills are so good, it's not a question about what you have right now. You can always bring more to it, right? And like prospecting was the other thing. And most people don't even do that. They don't even go out there and ask for this. So prospecting is basically you're reaching out to people and you're basically asking them to sign up for your service or something like that. It's hard, it's difficult, but you can't lose a prospect that you never had. Have any of you seen like a really attractive girl with an ugly looking guy? And you wonder why that was the case? And where you're still single? Well, most of you are married, but anyways. So he just simply approached more people and he made those requests and he was able to like, he got no's until he finally got a yes. And that's like, it's just a numbers game. If you don't prospect somebody, you never had anything to begin with. So it's not like you're at net zero, right? Next one was objection handling. So for example, like you need to prepare in advance for the objections you guys are most likely gonna get. All of you need to know the objections and the answers to it. So for your business, if somebody says, I need to talk to my partner, how are you gonna handle that? It's not like the partner is gonna magically become a salesperson and be like, oh, this product is the best in the world, buy 15 of them. No, they're probably gonna complain or something, so you need to have in your mind how you're gonna address that issue. If they come up with a price objection, for example, like for example in our case, there's this strategy you could use to basically get anybody to overcome the price objection, no matter what country or what city they are. You just make it look smaller. So let's say you have a product, like our marketing workshop was 3,000 to 5,000. You don't sell that as 3,000 to 5,000 product. You tell them, take out a calculator, you have this for 6 months, divide 3,000 by 180 days. The answer would be like 15 bucks or something. Like you spend that on a burrito bowl. Let me ask you a question, is a burrito bowl worth more? Or like this event and the 6 months of coaching you get, and you get access to all the programs, you get access to all of our trainings, you get access to all of these different resources, plus you get to meet all of these amazing people. Is that worth more, or is the burrito bowl worth more? You're still paying the same amount, right? And most people will see your product in that different light. You just break it down and make it easier to digest. Other objections which sometimes are like, another way to handle price objection was basically saying, like if you look at you guys, everybody here in the room right now, most of you are qualified business owners and like people who are actually committed. Imagine if we priced this workshop at like 500 bucks. Many of you would be like, this doesn't make sense. The room has like, this is not at my level yet. There would be a lot of beginners here, right? And that is also like something that you would understand is if you pay for the quality, you pay for what you're getting ultimately at the end of the day. Anyways, let's move on to that. Third thing was convictions. People pay for the eyes, they don't pay for the product or the service. They pay for the person as well. So if a client is like, if you make an unreasonable demand and I agree with it, or if I'm not confident in my product or service, if I follow you up after a call with something like, hey, I think you don't like me anymore, just seeing if you still wanna respond to the messages. Dude, that's not conviction. You wanna have the integrity and you wanna be somebody who has that level of expertise and value in your product, that the customer is gonna come to you and they would see that and they would pay for that confidence. The body language. Two people can say the exact same thing, even in your videos that you create for your marketing or every place else, and get completely different results. You need to keep that thing in mind. Finally, service-based businesses can't be marketed like product-based ones. I'm giving examples of dating before. I'll use the same thing again. You guys are getting a wife. Most people are marketing a service-based business like a product-based business. For service-based business, you're getting a client for a long run. You need to qualify them. You need to make sure they're the right fit. It's not like you're just gonna provide them service one day and be gone with it. You will probably it will be an ongoing thing and you wanna make sure you're working with the right people. Because if you get the wrong person, they're gonna come at the cost of the right ones, right? And yeah, we actually had that issue before. Abhay booked a room in the hotel and they basically gave him, they said airport view. We went up to the room and it was like a parking lot view basically. It wasn't an airport view. So, and I'm pretty sure we're not gonna book the same airport view room again. Service-based. And you sometimes just need one person to change everything. I'm not gonna go deeper into that. But that basically concludes the 4 strategies. Now, I think we actually got the wrong presentation. But anyways, so let's talk about solo leveling. I'm gonna probably close things on this and the next one. You guys, have you ever played video games before?
Yeah.
This was the main thing that helped me get really better. I just started looking at sales, marketing, and everything like a game. In video games, you go through missions, you go through quests by yourself. Once you finish them, you level up. You unlock new skills, you like basically become better, your player level increases, right? Same applies to business, sales, marketing, all of this stuff. And there are different missions and quests and things that you guys can do, which will basically increase those results and increase that level of success and all of those things, right? So, for example, like running your first event, what is gonna happen once you do that? You unlock the skill, you know how to run events. Your charisma and public speaking skills increase, or all of that stuff. Pitching your idea to a group of investors, your sales skills increased even more. All of these things, even if you're not ready for it, simply you could position things as ways. I used to look like, I'll make my first 50 funnels, and my funnel skill would go from level 1 to level 2. And then eventually I'll keep leveling up until it's finally level 10. So that's how I used to look at things in my head. And that basically made things a lot easier. Obviously you find a mentor that will help as well. And all of these things, and mentors or people that you could bring on can completely, drastically change the speed at which you guys are getting results, right? Because you don't have to make the same mistakes that we made. And you don't have to make, so for example, like even with marketing services sometimes, right? Clients would say that I'm gonna do all of it by myself. Well, most likely you won't because you don't have that consistency or willpower. But even if you do, you still end up spending the same amount of money that you were gonna spend if you had a professional anyways. It's usually better to learn both at the same time, which is why these 3-day workshops are so good that even if you're getting clients, you're learning the skill, but you're also having someone else do it. So you just level up a lot more faster with that. And moving on, like, and then you sometimes have like more difficult requests which are like defeating the boss or something like that, right? They increase your skill level drastically. Ethan mentioned like when we offered sponsorship packages for the Upper Deck, and one of the features of that was basically you get to be on stage and talk to all of these different people, and there were some who signed up for whom they were not properly that speakers before. But it was more along the lines of they have done that level of training, they were confident that once you get on stage and for the period of time you could share anything with anybody out there, it like ultimately unlocks a lot of new skills. And like the bigger the quest is, the bigger challenge you handle, the more you basically get out of it, ultimately, right? And that was the main thing. And finally, to conclude it off, as I mentioned in the beginning, the main reason why $1 million funnels is still at the top of the industry is mainly because of our mentality. Ethan follows Kobe like I'm wearing them right now. He wears them. Kobe Bryant, and we covered that on day 1, Mamba mentality it's basically a constant quest to be the best version of yourself. Every single day to protect the goals that you have. And he would give everything for it. The mentality is basically the discipline, the will to discipline one's weaker self in order to reach one's stronger self. It refers to the art of devoting oneself to one's ideals. So even if, and doing everything it takes to get to your goals. So even if there's somebody who couldn't afford it, but he like spent so much money saved up and attended this event, or there's a business owner present here who has a 10 times bigger target, and he wants to get there and he's doing everything he can to get to that point, that is Mamba mentality. You sacrifice everything else, you compromise everything else because you're fully focused on that goal and that dream of yours, which is important to you. In our case, it was becoming the best and the biggest in our industry. So we could take care of the people we care about, right? And so everything else, you don't go to parties, you don't go to clubs, you do all of that. And that was the mentality basically. And I'm not always 100% with it, but we never wanted to be unfaithful to it because the shoes and everything in Kobe represented something. Because throughout his life, he never compromised on his work ethic, he demanded more from himself than anybody else. And finally, he was somebody without any skills, he wasn't God gifted at all. He was somebody average, just like a lot of us, like if you look at Ethan or you look at me, like we weren't born with marketing skills. We don't have any natural talent. We're introverts actually. But we're here on stage speaking, or he's doing much bigger and amazing stuff. But like the main thing behind that was that we just had the level of hard work, ethic, and dedication, and we were able to zone out everything else, and we kept on doing that every single day, without result, without response, even doing things that we were not ready for, because we thought we could do more, and we never gave up on that. And finally, right now you look at $1 million funnels, and we're bringing Goggins, we're bringing all these amazing people here, and we're just doing so much more, and that's the thing, right? Ultimately, you want to live life a lot more than what you have right now. That end of the gap, whatever that outcome you have there, just start taking it more seriously. The average lifespan is like 70 whatever years. You reach your midlife at 37, not at 50 years old. So start taking things seriously. And that will be it. Thank you for letting me speak, and I hope.
Alright, so the main thing to keep up a lot of you is offer creation. Okay, so like I said on day one, if your offer doesn't work, then you're not going to get any result. And that was a good insight onto many of those elements as well. So let's now discuss pillar number 4, which is nurture. So nurture, in marketing, nurture just means like email marketing. So I'm going to show you now. I know that it's today and tomorrow. There's more techie stuff, I guess, than average. But remember that everything is recorded from the other times, and this part here is recorded. So I'm not going to go through every single step because it's going to be very hard to follow along in this kind of capacity. But I'm going to show you how email marketing works from ConvertKit. And if you're someone who wants to set up an automatic email, then again, we're going to finish earlier so you guys have spare time to do this. Remember, the first time around this event, we finish 9 p.m. every single day. So by finishing 3 hours and a half early, you can use that time either for yourself, free time to relax, or you can try to do extra work if you wanted to. So ConvertKit is the email marketing software that I have advised to some of you that it's probably the easiest one to use. And the main lesson is how do you make those two, how do you make it connect, okay? So you can write down these notes. The first thing in ConvertKit is you need a form, okay? You need to make a form. The only way ConvertKit and ClickFunnels talk to each other is by a form. So the key word is find forms. So how you do that, if I show you on my screen now, this is the ConvertKit.